gonna take a quick ride over to the Hill Country Water Gardens to look at some plants I saw. I'm looking for some Texas silver sage, but what I need them in is smaller pots because we can't dig. I feel like a broken record, but we can't dig very deep. We hit limestone, and the other day I saw some sage in 1 gallon pots. Perfect. I have built up enough good soil with adding mulch and letting that decompose that I feel pretty confident that I can dig up at least that far. And then the silver sage is really good, resilient. It's a resilient bush here in central Texas, so I feel really good about it being able to take root. We do have some triple digit weather coming in May. This is actually the hottest May on record, and probably not the ideal time to plant, but the plants I'm going to put in are going to be in kind of a dappled shade area underneath the oaks, and I'm just going to have to make sure to keep those plants watered in while they take root. So yeah, and then the other plants I'm trying to balance out my garden with is going to be some red yucca, which I have in my gardens. I'm just going to propagate some pieces and spread them out, and I also have lots of petal prickly pear or spineless prickly pear in my yard, and I'm gonna just cut some pieces off of there, stick it in the ground, and it takes root. It's super easy, and it could care less about the heat. So gonna go grab those silver sage and head on back to the house, and I'll show you what I'm up to. Okay, so we're back home now. I got some really cool plants. What I did was I decided to kind of replicate what I have from one side to the other, even though one side of our yard is a lot more established than the other. And I'll give you an example of some of those things right now. These are some of the Texas silver sage, and plenty of spineless prickly pears. And I have more of the Texas sage, kind of trying to cover up some of these utilities, which is fine. It's way on the other side of the yard, but these do really well here, obviously. So I have a lot on this side of the yard, but not so many on this side. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and add 3 more of these Texas sage, as well as more of these rock roses, because those are all doing well and they kind of propagate themselves. I'm trying to fill in all this garden to kind of balance things out. And it's such a young garden that it's gonna take a little bit of time, but you gotta get it in sometime. So I know it goes without saying, but whenever you're planting, please be careful. As you can tell, I have my meter here, and there's a wire, which is probably a ground wire, but when I was digging this hole, the main part of it is right in here. And thankfully I am using a small shovel, because if you really came in there and went at it, you could probably cut something that shouldn't be cut, and it could potentially be really dangerous. So please always be careful when digging. Okay, so on this side of the house, this is my thinking. This is a silver sage, and along that fence line, I'm gonna put 2 more. And that'll kind of balance out. It's a group of 3s, but they're kind of separated. But I think that'll really add a nice balance to everything, since most of our sages are on that side of the yard. This is my butterfly garden, but I think it'll kind of carry some of those sages, and it'll give a little bit more evergreen height. And I think that's gonna look really nice. So once I move, we'll probably take the tractor wheel metal rim, I guess it was, for a tractor, just because I like it. And this is my certified wildlife habitat certification. I will continue that on at the next house, but the silver sages will be a permanent fixture here, and I'll take my topiary. So kind of getting ready, you know. I want something nice there for the next owners, and I feel like our yard is gonna sell our house, so it's getting hot. Okay, so it's always important to get everything watered in, especially here, because we're about to have triple digits. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these soaked in real good today. And then again tomorrow, because Wednesday, it's going to be 103, and literally it's the middle of May. This is what we have to deal with here in Central Texas. These are all plants that can survive that type of heat. That's why I'm planting them. And then, like I said before, things survive season after season. I replicate, because I'm tired of spending money trying things. I've done enough of that over the years, and now I know in my yard that this is what's gonna work. I just need to keep it nice and wet, let it get sorted in. Ideally, it'd be better to do this before there's a huge heat wave, but this isn't an area of the house that gets full afternoon sun. It does get morning and midday sun, but we do have a lot of oak tree coverage, so I think we're gonna be good. And I'll keep a close eye on them, keep everything nice and watered in. So here's some of my rock rose in the backyard that's doing fantastic. And I'm hoping that the new rock rose that I put in the front will do just as well. I'm gonna grab a few of these little pieces of cactus that are self-propagating. These are basically just anything other than these giant cactuses that's in my yard are pretty much propagations of this plant. So I'm gonna go ahead, there's a few pieces in the back that have fallen. Specifically like right there. I'm gonna go ahead and cut some of that and then put it up front, since it's not doing too great back there. So I'm gonna grab a few pieces and go put them up front. So every year I get these guys, and every year I have to treat them. And I thought I was gonna get away with it this year, but it looks like they're back, and I'm gonna get them before they really start multiplying and get a hold of that. But as I pull the cactus petals off, I'm gonna make sure that there's none on them, so I don't keep spreading them around. But it is kind of an ongoing usually a yearly spray. And I try to keep the spraying to just one area. And I'm gonna pull some of these petals off the back. And I'm gonna show you how easy it is. So now I have to harden that off before I plant it. Not much more to do than letting it harden off, and then going ahead and just sticking it into the ground and making sure that it's standing up. And in the words of Laura Eubanks, if your succulents are standing, you've done your job. That's always in my head. Okay, so here in the back, I gotta be careful with snakes around here because we're in Texas. But this poor dude is just fallen to the ground. It's still hard. It just looks really unhappy. So I'm gonna pull him off and see if we can do something with this. And it may just be a case of just, it's a weak piece that maybe the bugs got to. But here's everybody. And all I have to really do is just let them sit here for a couple of days, harden off. This is what I mean by hardening off. So you want this part, it's gonna eventually callus over and get hard, because otherwise, if you put it in the ground right now, it will probably rot. And don't worry, it's gonna be hot. There's enough water stored in here. This thing's gonna be just fine. All of these guys have all been pieces that have stuck into the ground, and they've tripled in size. Every year they put up at least one paddle, sometimes two. I think I'm gonna try to put one right in here. And then I'll have to figure out maybe one more somewhere. Alright, put one of the yuccas here. I have another one over here. I have two up front, and then there's several on that side. And it's getting pretty hot. I'm gonna take a break, and then once those other cactuses start to harden off, more than likely I'm gonna put one over here against the house, and then try to find maybe one or two to scatter in here. I think that's gonna be it. I think it's gonna be really pretty. I mean, it was just dead grass, so now it's just gonna be a native garden. I think it's gonna fill in really nicely. Super low maintenance, drought tolerant plants. Right now it doesn't look like a whole lot, but in time it's gonna fill in. It's gonna be gorgeous. These are some other yuccas that have just really filled out. So hopefully they'll get like that at some point, really start filling in, becoming bushy. And you gotta start someplace, you know? And this is just how everything's coming along. Still haven't fixed my fountain, but I will. It just hasn't been on my list. Every time I get out here, I start planting stuff. I'll do another video on that. Maybe kind of show you how to fix a fountain, changing out the pump and such. Every year I pretty much have to do some kind of maintenance on it. So yeah, that's it for today, I think, and that's gonna be a good start, I think, to the summer, and letting things grow in that I know are gonna be drought tolerant, because we're gonna need it. Already triple digits mid-May. It's insane. Crazy weather, guys. I hope everybody has a great day, and make sure to plant for your zone. Save that money, look around yourself and your neighbors and see what's thriving, and plant multiples of that. Anything else that you just want to play around with, put it in a pot. That way you can bring it in and overwinter it. Or in our case, sometimes we have to bring it in because it's too hot. I guess it'll be over summering it. All right. Looking good, looking good. Have a great day, everybody.